this is China. So I guess the question is, was this very much expected? But at the same time, how much of a blow will this be for their AI ambitions?
Yeah, let's get to the first part of that question. Was it expected? You could expect that given the regulatory environment towards tech over the last 3 years against Alibaba and others, and the priority of national security and data security, that there would be an effort by Chinese regulators to get ahead of this new trend, which is predicted to be explosive and, transformational for society and for the technology world. So we got these draft rules that were published on the website of the Cyberspace Administration of China, the CAC, the big regulator, very powerful body overseeing the technology space, in particular the platform economy. It's essentially saying, that these AI providers must ensure content is accurate and respects intellectual property and neither discriminates nor endangers security, must also clearly label the content that one sees as AI-generated content. Growth in generative AI, it really has exploded, obviously, since November when OpenAI's ChatGPT fired up the industry. But, in China, you have a lot of ambitious players, Baidu, Alibaba, SenseTime, NetEase, and many others, all aim to build the definitive next-generation AI platform in China for the world's biggest internet market. Now, again, people that we've spoken to do not expect necessarily that foreign players would be welcome into China, just like Google and Facebook and all those other services from the West in the United States are not allowed to operate in China. But one would have to question, given the pretext to your question, Sherry, would they want to, or would they be want to operate in a fairly restrictive internet-controlled environment in China? Now, before we move on to those services that are coming from Alibaba and the like, there's three big questions that I highlight for these service operators in China, and given these new guidelines, draft guidelines that have been published. How to galvanize growth in AI in China and also police its content. That is the big question. It's a big question that Alibaba has been trying to solve over the last 2.5, 3 years since the regulatory crackdown. How can you do this without the advanced chips, especially for training, because of those export controls by the United States? And finally, how do you allow these companies to build and without building monopolies? Obviously, that's something Alibaba has had to contend with.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the services that they unveiled, Alibaba, also SenseTime. How groundbreaking has it been so far?
Yeah, I don't think they're groundbreaking yet. I mean, they're still building up the platforms and building the training, the learning, and the algorithms and the data that goes into that. And it's not necessarily transformational like some would say ChatGPT has been. But again, these are steps towards what will likely be a bifurcated AI, generative AI industry in the world, the West and then in China. Baba unveiled a new AI model into its Amazon-like Echo smart speakers, the Tmall Genie smart home providers, also into DingTalk app, and also SenseTime unveiled new AI services, SenseNova and SenseChat. I mean, there's a lot to unpack and a lot to uncover in this rapidly changing industry, not only in China, but around the world, obviously.